Good morning, good afternoon, and a good evening, depending from where and when you are watching. Pakistan reopened schools after a nearly 6-month long break due to the coronavirus. During that difficult period, many students likely have become more addicted to their digital daily drivers, and to curb that constant craving to check social media apps which distract from studies, UAE-based tech startup has introduced its rewarding solution now for Pakistan.
Lock and Stock started in UAE. It's a startup started in 2017. So the basic concept was to incentivize students to stay off their phones, mostly in the classroom. So it's obviously started off as a concept for students. When we're bringing this into Pakistan, and our official launch was yesterday, we have not restricted this to students, so anyone can download it. But the main concept and the main focus at the beginning was students, because we realized, in the beginning, that students, when they go to lecture theaters, college and university-based students, probably 30-40% of the time they're on their phones, whether they're checking Google, WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever. How do we make them fully 100% concentrate in the universities, concentrate on what the professor is saying, and these kind of things? The key concept behind it is that every time your phone is locked, so basically Lock and Stock is an app. You download it on your phone, you go on the app and you lock your phone. So obviously you can't use other apps like WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever. Every minute that your phone is locked, you get a key. So that's a reward. So that would mean for 1 hour, you get 60 keys. In UAE, these guys have put in a great effort, and they have about, I would say, 400 or 500 vendors on board, which include retailers, restaurants, cinemas, all kind of places where you can redeem these reward points. So it was a great idea, and students really caught on to it. And over the last 3 years, they've had about 50,000 subscribers plus. And they've even calculated how much time students have stayed off their phone, and it comes to almost 500 years and a few days and hours. So it's definitely popular over there. And I would say in Pakistan, it's going to be even more attractive, hopefully, because digital addiction is everywhere. But in Pakistan, because there's a larger scale of universities, the student population over here, and that's why, like I said, we're not limiting students, adults and juniors as well. It's rewards for all.
What exactly compelled you to come to Pakistan? Is the digital landscape appealing, that you thought that bringing this app to Pakistan would give you your own rewards in a way?
When we started off here in the UAE, we wanted to touch the lives of students everywhere around the world. The UAE has 10 million people, and in comparison to that, Pakistan is 200 million. We set out on a mission to change students' lives, and the number of students whose lives we can touch in Pakistan is 20 times larger than the number of students in the UAE. And that's why we looked at Pakistan as a favorable market, as opposed to like a Oman or a Qatar or Bahrain here in the GCC.
Which other countries has Lock and Stock tapped so far?
Pakistan actually marks our first expansionary market, and it's the first country that we are seriously looking at in terms of growing the user base and getting students onboarded, getting them to lock their phones, customizing offers, discounts, scholarships for them. So we're very, very excited for this.
How do you get students to lock social media apps when they are in the universities? How would you know that they're not sitting at home?
We basically geofence each and every single campus, university, high school across the entire country to ensure that when you're physically on campus, that's only when you're allowed to lock your phone. Now, as a result of the pandemic, we realized that students aren't going to be in classrooms anymore. So we then lifted off our geofencing capabilities, but we still wanted to ensure that people are motivated to lock their phones as they study at home, and therefore added some activity trackers, which basically allows a student that when you go into the lock mode and set your goal for how long you want to lock your phone for, you're also able to select 1 out of 12 different activities that you can set for, whether it's studying, you're eating, you're playing video games, anything that a student is doing. There is now a reason for you to lock your phone and not just studying. So we're really hoping that this kind of mechanism motivates and encourages students to continue to lock their phones, stay away from their phones when they're meant to be in the moment, whether it's with friends or with family, or whether they're just studying on their own.
Where is the revenue coming from?
Lock and Stock sells ads. That's just a fact of life when you're in the tech sector. I think from companies from Facebook to Google to Instagram to Snapchat, everybody does it. However, what sets us apart is that we are a company with a mission. As long as we're doing that, We firmly believe the money will come. That's okay. The revenue for us is secondary.
Where I came in is, my background, 15 years of education consultancy. I represent around 100 universities all over the world. So when I met Craig, they were already working with UAE universities. They wanted to expand that base, and we had that. We had the international base of 100 universities. So we said, why not partner on 3 fronts? One front was enabling students to apply to universities outside of UAE. In addition to that, we have agreed with most of our universities that in the UAE universities, almost all of them are giving some sort of scholarship or discounts to students applying through Lock and Stock. We have also gotten that agreed with almost all of our 100 universities, that any student applying through this app will get a discount, not just on the application fee, but the tuition fee as well. So that's what I brought to the table, the expansion of the universities, as well as the discounts offered. Another thing I want to add is that, yes, of course, we've expanded the number of universities on it, but for the first time in Pakistan, we're going to be having Pakistani university on it. Now, through one centralized app, you can apply to almost any Pakistani university which will be on our panel.
This all sounds really exciting. Follow us on Arab News Pakistan Edition on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And don't forget to click on those notification buttons to alert you about our latest report. I am Sib Kaifi from the Arab News Studios in Islamabad.